words than what you need. So you have to identify which among those words the speaker spoke are the right answers. Okay? So let's say that this is the instruction. Let's have Mick Ed. Can you read the instruction? Okay, so there you go. So it only says no more than 3 words for each answer. So of course, the information in the recording will always be in complete sentences. Your answer is not going to be in complete sentences. Okay? So the questions in your recording or the questions in your questionnaire are basically summaries and sentences that are not verbatim. So when you say verbatim, they're not going to be word per word as to how you hear them from the recording. However, you will have to use the recording and use the exact words that you hear from the recording to complete this answer. So let's say that this is the complete thought, or let's say that this is what you heard from the recording. So the recording says a new cure or treatment. And then the instruction says no more than 3 words. So if you're going to write verbatim what you exactly hear from the recording, okay, so your answer might not be able to be considered correct, okay, because the instruction says no more than 3 words, okay? So in this case, you will have to take out some of the words from the exact words that you hear from the recording, okay? So let's say that this is the verbatim. Let's say that this is the phrase be. So the correct answer should be no more than 3 words. So how do we correct this answer? Let's have fun. A new cure or treatment. So you hear 5 words. And then the instruction only says 3 words. Anyone? Okay, what about B? Let's say that this is the exact phrase that you've heard from the recording. However, the instruction only tells you to write no more than 3 words. So, what words should we take out? Sorry? Yeah. We should take out the word. Okay, we need to take out the word new. What else? So 1, 2, 3, 4. We still have 4. Okay, so there. So when you say cure or treatment, they're actually the same. Am I right? So if this is the verbatim of the recording, you have to choose either or. So you can use the word cure. You can also use treatment, but you only choose one because they're the same. And of course, you do not have to write or. Why do we need to take out new? Why should we take out new? You can tell me. That. Why should we not include new in our answer? Yes. Why should we take out new? So our answer would be a cure or a treatment. Okay, so our answer would either be a cure or a treatment. So why do we need to take out the word new? No idea? Okay, you can tell me. Any idea? Why should we take out the word new? It's an adjective and yeah, could be. And then also at the same time, look at the word discovered. So when you say discovered, what does that mean? It hasn't been used before. It's something new. So that is why new here is not a a word that is important. So we can take them out. Alright, so it doesn't mean to say that if the instruction says no more than 3 words, that our answer should be exactly 3 words. So we only need to include the words that are necessary to complete the statement. Understood? Questions? Clear? Okay, what about this one? Hi, can you read this? Okay, and then the instruction says? Okay, so write no more than 3 words. So if this is our answer, how many words do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4. Which one should we take out? Hi. Which one should we take out? Which word? A new cancer treatment. Which one? Which word should we take out so that we can follow the instruction? The word? New. We just take this out. What if we take out a? What if we take out a? Is it okay if we take out a? Let's have May in black. Look. If we take out the word a here, and we just use new cancer treatment, would that be okay? Yes or no? The scientists discovered new cancer treatment. No, okay? We have to have a here. Okay, so even if a is an article, not really a content word, if we take out a, the sentence will be grammatically incorrect. So in this kind of question, we need to observe the structure, the grammatical structure of the sentence. So a here would make your answer incorrect, or taking out a. So we just have to take out the word new because it's unnecessary. We already have the word discovered. Understand? So you have to know which words should you include in your answer because the statements or the recording that you hear from your audio, so they will be in sentences. And of course, you cannot write the entire sentence as your answer. So you know which words should be included as your responses. Okay? Okay, spelling. So this is one of the most common mistakes of candidates. So make sure that you look at your answers to be sure to not make any silly mistakes. Even if your answer is obviously the right answer, all right? However, if they are spelled incorrectly, still they will not be considered correct. Okay, in this case, I need you to look at this phrase, this answer. So which word is misspelled? Let's have Liên. Which word is spelled incorrectly? Incorrect spelling. Cancer treatment. Which has an incorrect spelling? Treatment. How do we write treatment? How do we spell it? How do we spell treatment? Yes? How do we spell? Correct spelling. Treatment. Okay, Dan. Spelling for treatment. T-R. Okay, so there, treatment. Okay, so if you only miss one letter, you only misspelled one letter, this will not still be considered correct. Okay? So again, for those who always have spelling mistakes, when you study vocabulary, also take note of the correct spelling. If you encounter new words, do not only remember the meaning of the word. Remember the pronunciation of the word. Remember how it's used in a sentence, and the pronunciation and spelling. Okay? So do not just remember meaning. Okay, next one. Let's have B, the other B. Number down. Okay, so the words. Okay, so there you go. So since you are going to, or there are some cases, if it's form or if you do not have to consider grammar. But for summary completion, sentence completion, sometimes even table completions, short sentences and phrases, you need to consider the grammatical structure of a phrase. Okay? So, if that is the case, you have to consider the tense of the verb. Let's say that your answer is a verb. So you can easily identify what type of words are missing if you are to analyze your question. So if it's a verb, try to ask yourself, what tense of the verb should I be using? Or should I be using a verb in active form? Or should I be using a verb in passive form? Okay? Is my verb supposed to be singular or plural? Okay? So gender, what's gender? Male, female. Okay? So sometimes in the question you might need to use a pronoun. For example, if the person is a female, so you will have to use the word she. If it's a male, he. What if it's something? Something. Not a male or a female. Only one. Yeah, what's the pronoun? Something. Not a person. Only one. Yes? She, he, it. So there you go. What if more than one? What's the plural? What is the pronoun? More than one. They. So there you go. Okay? All right. Next one. What's happening, Anne? Can you read this? Verb agreement. Okay, so if you are going to use present tense, especially if it's present tense, or even past tense. Okay, so in some cases, if you use the verbs, you have to make sure that the verb agrees with the subject. Okay, so meaning to say, if your subject is only one, your verb should also be singular. Okay, how do we know if a verb is singular? How does a singular verb look like? Let's have name. Singular verbs. How do singular verbs look like? Action verbs. They have singular verbs. Name. Yes. Singular verbs. Sorry. How does a singular verb look like? Verb in singular form. It's very easy. How do they look like when you see singular verbs? What do they end with? They end in S-E-S-I-E-S. Example, she sings. This is a singular verb, right? So a verb in singular, the subject is singular, the verb should also be singular. Understand? Okay, so there. I need you to take a look at this sentence. Let's have an ad. Can you read the sentence? Okay, I need you to check this verb. Is this correct or not? Why do you think it's not correct? Okay, so when you say scientists, okay, all right, but why do we look at the word scientists? Because it's the subject. As simple as that. It's the doer of the action, right? So even if you see the word hospital, hospital is actually also a noun. What is the complete subject of the sentence? It's actually not just scientists. The scientists at the research hospital. This is actually the complete subject. The scientists at the research hospitals. It's just that The main subject would be the scientists. Okay? So scientist is plural. That is why using is not correct. So what should we use then? Let's come to it. What should we use then? What should we use instead of is? Our subject is scientists. So we use are. As simple as that. This is what we mean by subject-verb agreement. Okay? This is very helpful when it comes to answering the listening examination. Alright? You have to make sure that the number of your verb or your verb agrees with the number of your subject. Okay? Questions? No questions so far? Okay. Okay, next one. Let's have hi. Read the sentence hi. They. Okay, what's wrong with the sentence hi? What's wrong with the sentence? Anything wrong with the sentence? There is something wrong. What is it? What about shirt? Why do we need to put S? Okay, because of the word? Because of the word? What word is plural here? Five. Okay, so this is our indication that this now should be in plural form because five. Is five one only? It's more than one. Am I right? So this is why your answer should have an S. So let's say that this is your answer, five shirt. You only miss an S. Still, your answer is not going to be considered correct. Okay? So pay attention to the structure of the question. So even if you miss an S, it's actually a very small mistake. Still, you will lose points because of that. Alright? Okay, next one. Let's have, okay, look at, can you read this? Are you logged into Zoom? Are you in Zoom now? Okay, can you read this? Okay, so is there something wrong with the sentence? Leanne, what's wrong with the sentence here? The word? His, very good. What's wrong with his? What's wrong with his? Doctors? Are we going to base your answer by using the word doctors? Which word should we look at? Which word should we consider? Who's doctors? Doctors of who? The doctors of? Yes? The doctors of? Whose doctors are they? One. Whose doctors? The patients. Okay, the doctors of the patients. The patients. Singular or plural? One or more than one? More than one. So, how should we change this? His is only one, right? One, his. A male. Only one. So how should we change this? What should be the right pronoun? There. There you go. Their doctors. Questions? No questions? Okay. Okay. Now, this time, so let's apply what we've learned so far. So again, when you answer the questions in gap completion questions, always take note of instructions. Try to also consider the type of gap fill questions. So usually if it's form completion, you don't really have to write or you don't really have to pay attention to the grammatical structure of the answers. So usually for forms would usually look like this way. Name. There. This is a typical question for completion. Do we need to write the entire sentence? Do we need to write a sentence? No, we only need to write one word, right? So what is that one word? Then add. Name. Which name? First or last name? First name. So this is first name, last name. Let's say that the correct answer is Anna. Are we going to write Anna Smith? No, we just write Anna. So do not write my name is Anna Smith. No, we just need to write Anna. Okay? But if the question is summary completion, sentence completion, notes completion that require grammar, for example, the question is a phrase, so you have to consider what words to use to complete the phrase or the sentence. Okay? Okay, title. So in summary completion, usually in section 4, the summary could be the summary of the entire recording. That is why if you happen to see section 4 with only one question type, only summary completion, so that means that that is the entire summary of the recording. However, there could be section 4 and section 3 summary completion questions that are only summaries of some parts, either the first part or the half or the second half of the recording. So just to give you an example, let's say this one. Let's go back to our example. So if you notice, this is a question in section 4, and it says here questions 31 to 34. So questions 31 to 34. So that means that the first half of the recording, this is the summary. Okay? So section 4, by the way, it does not have any gaps. So if we will switch from questions 35 to 40, the recording will not tell you. Unlike section 1, section 2, section 3, section 3, every time that you switch from one question type to the next one, they will tell you, okay, let's move on to questions 35 to 40. So that's usually the case if it's section 1 and section 3. But if it's section 4, no gaps. Okay, so pay attention. So if this is the question, that means that this is going to be the summary of the first half of the recording. You get me? Now, let me have someone read this. Let's have Dan. Okay, so this is what we call a title. So this is a summary of information that talks about origins of caveman diet. So when you say diet, what do you mean by diet? What's diet? Yes, Mom. If you hear the word diet, what's diet? Big man, what's diet? Yes? You keep on hearing the word diet. Diet is not a new word. Hi, what's diet, hi? What's diet? If you hear the word diet, what comes to your mind? What's diet? Can you put down your diet? Diet, everyone! I need to be on diet. So the person's diet, healthy diet. So what does diet mean? Something that you, or it's your? Has something to do with food. Am I right? Okay, so we need to say in the recording, you will have to find out the part of the recording that describes these people's diet. Origin. What do you mean by origin? Where they come from. Okay? So there. So looking at the title actually helps you identify which part of the recording will give you answers. Next one. Let's have, okay, let's have Dan. You read the next one. Answer. Okay, so I mentioned earlier that normally in the listening examination, the order of the answer appears in the recording as to how the questions are ordered, right? However, there could be some cases wherein two answers might switch places, especially if it's summary completion. But normally it doesn't, but sometimes it does. For example, let's say questions 31 and 32. There could be a possibility that the answer for question 32 will be mentioned first before the answer for question 31. Okay? Rarely happens, but sometimes it does. Okay? But usually they are mentioned one after the other. Okay? It will not take time for you to hear the answer for question number 31 if the answer for question number 32 comes out first. So they're usually almost successive. So you can hear them one after the other, okay? But in general, the answer should always be, or let's say the answers should normally come in the sequence of the questionnaire. Next one, let's have the friend. Okay, so for you to also spot the correct answers easily, you can predict the answers before you hear the recording. So ask yourself, what kind of word is missing? Is the missing word a number, an adjective, a noun? If it's a noun, how many? Is it plural? Is it singular? What kind of noun? Is it a person? Is it a place? Verb. What's the verb tense? Is it active? Is it passive? Is it singular or plural? All right? So for instance, let's go back to our question. All right. I'll give you 1 minute. I need you to study the questions. Let me know what kinds of words are missing from each gap. Since this is summary completion, you have to identify words considering the grammatical structure of the sentence and the meaning of the sentence, okay? Okay, let's answer. All right, question 31. What do you think is the type of word that's missing? It actually says here no more than 2 words. Question 31. Let's have someone read question 31. Let's have... Hi, can you read question 31? They... Okay, so what kind of word do you think? What type? What word type? We cannot still tell what is the exact word, or what are the exact words, right? However, we can already determine what type. They all promise good health if you stick to the blank. What kind of word do you think is missing? Is it a noun? Is it an action word? Is it an adjective, an adverb? It should be a... Okay, let me call someone from online. Let's have... Okay, Naman, 0426. 0426, Naman.
Yes, teacher.
Okay, why are you not here today, Naman?
I'm sorry, teacher. We forgot to set the clock.
Okay.
So both we stayed up late.
Okay, all right. So going back to the question, what type of word do you think this is?
A noun.
A noun. What kind of noun? You can actually guess the word here, even if you haven't heard of the recording.
Maybe object.
Something, right? So it's a noun, but it should not be someone. It should also not be a name of a place. So can you tell me, okay, who can guess what do you think is the most possible answer? They all promise good health if you stick to the blank. What do you think, Reed? What do you think is the exact word or the most possible word? The word? Stick to the. There are many popular fad diets nowadays. They all promise good health if you stick to the. If they stick to the diet. Okay? So, in some cases, for summary completion and sentence completion, you can actually already say what is the exact word. So, just by looking at the structure of the sentence. Okay, what about thinking naman? What about question number 32? Let's have, okay, let's have Can Rock, 0625. 0625, Can Rock, are you there?
No.
Okay, so can you read the part for question 32? Can you read this part? This diet. I need you to go to, or I need you to move closer to your mic. I can barely hear you. Your mic is not good. It's okay, I'll ask another person. Let's have, okay, 1125 Al-An, are you there?
Yes.
Can you read the sentence for us?
This diet includes food such as meat and fish that are obvious eggs before we present.
Okay, so before we develop blank. Okay, so what kind of word do you think is the type of word that's missing?
I think it's not enough.
A noun. So there you go. What kind of noun?
Like body part or maybe some part or some.
Is it going to be part of the body? I don't think so. Should it be a person? No, it should not be a person. Yes, body part is a noun, but if you're going to write a body part, the sentence will be illogical, right? So foods such as lean meat and fish that our forebears ate before we developed. What do you think is the type of word? Something, right? What did we develop? Develop means to create. Before man created, or if before man made something. Okay? So, let's try to guess what this word is. What do you think is the right word? Or what do you think is the most possible word to complete the sentence? Yeah. Okay, who can guess? There's no harm in guessing. B. Before we develop. Can you think of a word that will make the sentence logical? Look. Can you guess a word that will make the sentence logical? Okay. Can you read again? What's tab 10? Okay, this diet includes meat and does it make sense? there is a chance that we can already predict what is the exact word. Okay, just by considering the structure and meaning of the sentence. Okay, next one, 33. So this is an example of a question that is only worth 1 point, but you need to write 2 answers. So if you make a mistake in one of the 2, you lose a point. Or if you're only going to write 1 answer, that's not correct, okay? Let's have B. B, right? Can you read? These tribes. With weapons. What do you mean by this one? Example. So what do we need here? What kinds of nouns? What kinds of objects? They should be weapons. Can you give me an example of a weapon? Tribes in the olden times, right? Our ancestors. So what kinds of weapons did they use? Swords, but they're cavemen. Do you think cavemen already had swords before? Most likely not, right? So what types of weapons do they use? Bows and arrows, right? So it could be possible that bows and arrows. So they hunt, right? So they are spears. So it can also be possible that the correct answer are spears or is spears. One of them. So they should be weapons. Okay. What about question number 34? Let's have an ad. Can you read question 34? Blank. Okay, so what do you think is the missing type of information about blank of their energy from me? A blank of their energy. So what kind of information do you think is missing? Okay, so let's try to write vitamins, okay? So they only get about a vitamin of their energy from me. Do you think the sentence would be logical? No, about a vitamin of their meat or of their energy. It's illogical. Okay, what about the other one? You're still B, right? Okay. What kind of information do you think is missing? A blank of their energy. What kind of noun? A name of a person? Okay, so what kind of noun? What's that something? Name of a place? A place is also let's say an object. If it's an object, what kind of object? About a nutrition of their energy? It doesn't make sense. You can tell me. Let's have someone from online. Can we have Jabal 0625? Are you there?
Yes.
What do you think? What do you think is the type of noun that would best complete this statement? We usually use this in task 1 writing. About a blank of. Okay, B in line. What do we need? What kind of adjective? Can you give me an example? Okay, so there you go. It's actually an expression of an amount. Okay, so this word should actually answer a part of a whole. It could be a half, a quarter, a third. Okay, so they only get about a third of their energy from heat. So you happen to see the word only. It means that this fraction is small. A small amount. You can say a fifth, a third is big, so a fifth or a quarter, all right? But it should be an amount. How much of their energy came from the meat? Questions? Clear? So that's actually how we predict answers in completion questions. So for you to be able to easily identify if the word that you hear from the recording is a possible answer or not, you have to, of course, understand the need of the question. So once you spot them, you can easily identify them. And you will not get confused. Questions? Clear? Okay, so let's practice. So I need everyone to get a sheet of paper. If you don't have paper, you can actually use your notepad app. By the way, guys, before we begin our practice, so let me just give you an idea on your scores. Okay, so this is basically how your scores are converted. Okay, so let's say, as I mentioned earlier, if you can, do not, or only have few mistakes in sections 1 and 2, because if you are going to hit 20 and above, let's say this one, you already have 5.5. So let's say that you only need 6 or 6.5 for you to pass the test. So that means you only need 3 more points for you to hit 6 or 6.5. Alright? Questions? No questions? Okay, so let's start. Okay, alright, so I will be giving you some time. 1 minute. Let's check the recording first. It's working fine.
And I'm going to be giving a lecture series.
Okay, there you go. Let me have 11:25 LM. Can you tell me? Can you hear the recording?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So 1 minute, guys. Write 1 to 8 on your sheet of paper. Again, write 1 to 8 on your sheet of paper. Instruction, no more than 2 words. Are we good? Okay, so let's start.
In February of 2013. And I'm going to be giving a lecture series in February of 2013 on Mondays and Wednesdays, February 11th, 13th, 18th, and 20th, on the history of food in the Western tradition. And those lectures will cover 4 broad and general topics. The first lecture will cover food in prehistory and the ancient world. And we'll think about the origins of cooked food and the role that cooked food played in the development of the human brain, as well as ancient Hebrew dietary laws and cooking and eating in ancient Greece and ancient Rome. The second lecture will consider food in the Middle Ages and what historians like to call the spice revolution, or the way that spices arriving from the Far East changed the way Europeans both cooked and consumed and bought food. The third lecture will consider food in the Renaissance, and in particular the rise of etiquette and table manners, and the way that Europeans became very interested in the idea of magnificence and the magnificent table, as well as Columbus and the New World and the Columbian exchange, and the types of foods that crossed the Atlantic Ocean back and forth after Columbus's arrival in the Caribbean. And last, the final lecture will consider the rise of cooking in France, and what we call Nouvelle Cuisine and French cookbooks, as well as the birth of the restaurant.
Okay, let's answer. All right, so this is a typical example of this is in the form of notes. So this is what notes completion looks like in section 4. So unlike section 1, wherein most of the answers are factual, so notes completion in section 4 would mostly be either short sentences or short phrases. So in this case, you have to consider grammar and vocabulary. Okay. Or I'm sorry, grammar and structure of the sentence. Okay, who would like to answer question 1? Unit. Race. Okay. All right, next one, number 2. Lots of and. 1, 2, 6, and. 1, 2, 6, and. Are you there? And is that it?
Yes.
Okay, number 2.
Yeah.
What is your answer?
And we see.
You missed number 2. Who did not miss number 2? Question number 2. Me? You miss? Me? Nobody got number 2? Okay, let's skip number 2 for now. Number 3. Yes. Everyone missed? Solution? The spice solution. Okay. All right, number 4. Me? Consume? Like this? Okay. What? Consume? Okay. Next one, number 5. Let's have Zhao. Number 5. Oh, so if this is your section 4, many of you missed. Oh, who did not miss on the table? Table. Manner or manners? Okay. Next one, number 6 from online. Let's have. Okay, Yuki, are you there? Yuki, can you hear me? Was Yuki in? No? Okay, what about? 1125 L. 1125 L. Okay, number 6. Caribbean region. Ocean. Is there a Caribbean ocean? Okay, but anyway, we will check. Number 7. Anyone? B in red. Number 8. Restaurant. Okay. Number 7, who would like to answer number 7? No one? Dan? Sam? No one got number 7? What about number 2? Final call for number 2. No? Okay, alright, so before we listen again and check the answers, so let's try to identify what type of words are missing, okay? So number 1, obviously it's something. So what's developed? The development of something, alright? Number 2, ancient Hebrew land law. So we need to say what type of law, okay? Number 3, the spies were Spice what? They should answer what? So changes in the way Europeans cook. So this is a verb in past form. So we need to say this is also verb in past form. So number 4 should also be a verb in past form. Okay? Next one, etiquette, the rise of etiquette and something. Crossing the ocean, yes. But the question is this the name of the ocean? We'll find out later. French what? French here is used as an adjective, right? Something from France. Birth of what? Birth of the restaurant, so this could be a possible answer. Okay, so everyone, let's listen again. I need you to listen well. Okay, I will not give you the answer right away. I'll ask you again. What are the answers? So let's chat.
It's February 11th, 13th. I'm going to be giving a lecture series in February of 2013 on Mondays and Wednesdays, February 11th, 13th, 18th, and 20th, on the history of food in the Western tradition. And those lectures will cover 4 broad and general topics.
Okay, all right. So if you notice, the speaker says the lecture will cover 4 topics. So if you notice, there's lecture 1, lecture 2, lecture 3, lecture 4. Use that to track questions, okay? All right, let's begin.
Sure, we'll cover food in prehistory and the
Okay,
ancient
so
world.
food and prehistory, so you have to look at lecture 1, okay?
And we'll think about the origins of cooked food and the role that cooked food played in the development of human brain.
Okay,
As
so
well
it
as-
says here development of human brain, not brains, of human brain. Okay, so question number 1, or the answer for question 1 is correct.
As ancient Hebrew dietary laws and
Okay, so
cooking and
ancient Hebrew dietary. So ancient Hebrew dietary laws. So we're done with lecture 1.
in Greece and ancient Rome. The second lecture will consider
Second.
food in the Middle Ages and
Second lecture, so you have to be here. So do not say at lecture 1. You have to be fast in moving on to the next one.
what historians like to call the Spice Revolution, or the
Okay.
way that
The
first
spice revolution, not solution. Revolution. How do we spell revolution? Sam? Okay, so revolution. So the spice revolution. Okay, so let's move forward. Question number 4.
is arriving from the Far East changed the way Europeans both cooked
Cook.
and consumed and bought food.
Okay, so cook, consumed, and bought food. So question number 4 is correct.
The third lecture will consider food in the Renaissance, and in particular the rise of etiquette and table manners.
Okay,
And the way that Europeans became very interested in the idea of magnificence and the magnificent table, as well as Columbus and the New World and the Columbian exchange, and the types of foods that crossed the Atlantic Ocean back and forth.
That crossing the, what's the name of the ocean? Sorry? Atlantic. Do we have Caribbean Ocean? I don't think so. Caribbean Sea, not ocean. So the Atlantic Ocean. Next one.
After Columbus's arrival in the Caribbean. And last, the final lecture will consider the rise of cooking in France
Okay.
and what we call Nouvelle Cuisine and French cookbooks, as well as the birth
French
of
cookbooks. Again.
and French cookbooks, as
They're
well
French
as the birth
cookbooks.
of
So the
restaurants.
correct answer is cookbooks. Next one, the birth of.
As well as the birth of the restaurant.
Okay, so there you go. So the birth of the restaurants. Okay, so I need you to tell me your scores. Send your score here. You don't have to send it to everyone. Send it here. Out of 8 points, how many did you get? scores, guys. Many of you got, some of you got 1 or 2 mistakes, but when I asked you earlier, you cannot give me answers. How come? Some got 7, some got 6, but when I ask you your answers, you cannot answer. Your honest scores, guys. Okay, so there you go. All right, questions? Do we have questions? So there. So this is how we answer gap completion questions, so especially in section 4. So the most difficult gap question is actually in section 4. And then of course the recording will not be slowed down. So if you notice, you may find her speaking fast. She's actually not speaking fast. Okay? That's how native speakers speak. That's their pacing. Again, it will not be adjusted just because we cannot understand them in their normal pacing. Okay? Questions? No questions? Okay. All right. So everyone, I need you to keep your phones. So let's do the full test. No one should be keeping their phones. If you want, you can prepare a sheet of paper. It's fine if you prepare a sheet of paper. Close other sites. You should not be opening any websites. Close everything. Also reminder, you're not allowed to switch tabs. You're not allowed to click anything outside of the interface, because if you do, the examination will terminate. You might be asking how come. Even pop-ups, do not click anything that pops up your screen. It will terminate your exam. So that's why close all websites to avoid getting pop-ups. We good? All right, so here's the link. Sorry, let's check first if you can hear the recording. I'll be asking someone from online. Let me know if you can hear it. Let's have Jabal, 0625.
You will hear a number of different recordings.
There you go. Jabal,
Yes.
you can. All right, so here's the recording. I mean, the link, rather. Let me know if you can open or if you can be on the first page. Okay? All right, here you go. Click. You have to be on the first page, not on the login page. You open? Are you on the first page? Not on the login page, okay? Again, not on the login page. Open. Click start. And everyone, you can see the first page. You can log in. Okay, all right, so let's begin.
And you will have to answer questions based on what you hear. There will be time for you to read the instructions and questions, and you will have a chance to check your work. All the recordings will be played once only. The test is in 4 sections. At the end of the test, you will be given 10 minutes to transfer your answers to the answer sheet. Now turn to section 1. Section 1. You will hear a conversation in a mobile phone center between a customer and a mobile phone seller. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 7. You will see that there is an example that has been done for you. On this occasion only, the conversation relating to this will be played first.
Good afternoon, madam. May I help you?
Oh yes, I'm looking for a mobile phone, but don't really know where to start. This one looks a very attractive phone.
Ah, yes, that's the Apple iPhone 7S 32 gig. It's very sleek and lightweight. It's only 140 grams. It's a classic look, packed with special features, such as a voice-activated service to assist you and built-in GPS.
The phone the customer first looks at is the Apple iPhone 7S 32 gigabyte. So you should write 7S 32 GB in the space provided. You should answer the questions as you listen, because you will not hear the recording a second time. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 7.
Good afternoon, madam. May I help you?
Oh yes, I'm looking for a mobile phone, but don't really know where to start. This one looks a very attractive phone.
Ah, yes, that's the Apple iPhone 7S 32 gig. It's very sleek and lightweight. It's only 140 grams. It's a classic look, packed with special features, such as a voice-activated service to assist you and built-in GPS.
Well, I really only want a mobile which has a good camera and which is easy to use. Oh, and another thing, I don't want it to run out of battery all the time like some of those cheap phones.
If you want an excellent camera, then this phone has an 8-megapixel camera for photos. You can also talk after 8 hours once the battery is charged. On standby, your phone will remain powered for up to 200 hours.
Oh, that sounds good. How much is it though?
You're looking at £22.50 a month on a fixed 24-month contract. The good thing is that there are no fees payable up front.
Yes, it's a bit pricey. What about this one?
That's the LG G8 phone. I'm afraid I'm going to disappoint you when you learn the price. It's £40 a month.
For a 24-month contract?
I'm afraid so. But you're paying for several excellent features. The camera is a colossal 13 megapixels. You can also take still photos while simultaneously recording a video. Another good point is that it is remarkably lightweight at 149 grams. So it's only slightly heavier than the Apple iPhone we just looked at.
What is the battery power?
A lot more impressive than the Apple iPhone. Standby time is 565 hours and talk time 90 hours. It also has a high-definition screen that is second to none due to Quad HD technology. In fact, the screen has 4 times the pixel count of a normal HD screen.
I admit I love the look of the phone, but really it's way out of my price range. Oh look, that's a nice phone. The one with the flip top.
Ah yes, the Samsung DM-S410. That's one of our more basic models, but it's solid and reliable. Obviously it has hard keys rather than a touch screen, but it's very economical. It's only £20 for the handset, and it's pay as you go thereafter.
What about the camera? Are the pictures of good quality?
That's where the other 2 phones I showed you earlier are far superior in quality of picture than this model. In fact, the camera doesn't even possess a flash. You're also very limited on your talk time. It's only up to 2.5 hours, and standby time is 75 hours.
Oh.
It's also fairly lightweight, considering it's not state-of-the-art technology. It weighs in at 131 grams.
Before listening to the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 8 to 10. Now listen and answer questions 8 to 10.
Well, all things considered, I reckon the Apple iPhone 7s 32 gig is the one for me.
Actually, I know that it's out of stock at the moment. We only have the display model to show customers. But if I put in an order today, it will be with you within the week, say around April the 8th.
Great!
So if I could just take your name and contact number, I'll give you a call as soon as it's in.
Oh, thank you. The name's Janet Johnson. That's Johnson with an H. And my mobile number is 0799 678 305 8378.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, madam. It was a pleasure meeting you.
Thank you too for all your help and for your patience.
That's the end of section 1. You have half a minute to check your answers. Now turn to section 2. Section 2. You will hear a scientist giving a laboratory induction to a group of new employees. First, we'll have time to look at questions 11 to 15. Now listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 15.
Welcome everybody to Browning Smith Laboratories. I'll be giving you a short tour around your new working environment and pointing out several key features. It's very much state of the art, as I'm sure you'll see. Please now look at the plan of the laboratory building I gave you earlier. At the moment, we're standing in the large storage room. It's right there, positioned at the top on your plans and roughly in the middle. We've just come through the entrance door indicated, and that's now behind us. Okay, so got your bearings? All know where we are? Good. Let's continue our tour then and go next to the dry lab. As we go straight ahead down this corridor, the caretaker's room is the next room on your right. Immediately after are the unisex toilets. Now, let's go through these doors ahead of us and into the dry lab. Okay, so here we are now in the dry lab, which is the laboratory's biggest work area. If you look at your map, as we are standing now with the doors behind us, you can see the acid storage bin area clearly marked off to your right. Let's walk over there and take a look. You can see on your maps that we're standing in the far end of the building now. The acid storage bins are a hazardous area, obviously. If one of you should accidentally come into contact with not only these stored materials, but any other hazardous substance, then please proceed immediately to the eye wash emergency shower area. That's just back where we came in, right after the doors opening onto the dry lab, on the outside corner of the unisex toilets. I think those are the main features this end of the lab, apart from the chest freezer and cooler you see off to your right as you're facing the acid storage bins. The cooler area is divided into two sections. Okay, let's go and see the rooms now at the other end of the building. Now don't turn off to your left. That's where we entered the lab, if you'll remember. The next entrance off to your left, however, is the wet lab, which, if you'll look on your plan, is adjacent to the large storage area, but can only be reached by this entrance. Let's pass on by this lab and the clean lab adjacent to it and make our way to the small storage area. It's the first room through these doors ahead of us now. Please hold the door open to the person behind you as we file through. Good. I think that's everyone here now. This is the small storage area. And now we are at this end of the building. There remains for me to show you only one other room. You can see 2 doors leading off this room. The one ahead is an exit which will take you outside the building. The other leads to the walk-in cooler. Oh, there is one more area I need to mention. That's the walk-in freezer. It can only be accessed by leaving the building entirely, either through the exit I just pointed out or the first entrance we came in. I hope that's all clear now, but you will soon become more familiar with the general layout of the laboratory building.
Before you hear the rest of the discussion, you have some time to look at questions 16 to 20. Now listen and answer questions 16 to 20.
Now, I'd just like to refer to the health and safety procedure. This is essentially to fulfill basic health and safety requirements, since I know that you are not unfamiliar with such procedures and must know them off by memory. Okay, so firstly I'd like to say that if you are undertaking any project, whether supervised or not, all of you will be required to discuss it first with your health and safety coordinator. In certain cases, written approval is required. The health and safety coordinator has the final decision in situations where formal approval is needed. Everyone undertaking a project will have to first submit a form of a written standard operating procedure to the health and safety coordinator, outlining the steps and justifications for the experimental process to be carried out. Should the undertaking of a project not be granted initially, plans for the project, if satisfactorily amended, can be re-presented to the health and safety coordinator for approval at a later date. Assuming acceptance of the undertaking of a project, strict laboratory procedures must be adhered to. Overalls and non-hazardous equipment can be kept in the large storage room. On no account can either laboratory clothing or samples be removed from the building itself. Obviously, the same goes for equipment that is portable. This way, we can ensure that no cross-contamination can occur with samples or specimens kept in the laboratories. Finally, and this goes without saying, when hazardous materials are being handled, full protective equipment should be worn. Safety goggles and protective overalls are kept in the small storage room for this purpose. If using sharp, contaminated objects, such as needles, these can be temporarily stored in clearly marked containers on your laboratory work surface. However, they must be disposed of by the end of the day in the waste disposal bins clearly indicated outside the laboratory building. These bins are to be found just outside the exit by the small storage room. In the event of fire, please make your way immediately to the nearest of the 2 exits, either by the small storage or large storage room that I pointed out earlier. All that remains for me to do is to welcome you all to the company. company and wish you good luck.
That's the end of section 2. You have half a minute to check your answers. Now turn to section 3. Section 3. You will hear a discussion between two science students. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 25. Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 25.
Hi, Mark. Are you going to that lecture on microchip implant technology? I don't think I'll go. It's not that it's not a relevant field of study. It's just that it isn't personally relevant to me. If it were a computer science lecture, though, I wouldn't miss it for anything.
I know. Still, I think the concept of microchip implants is rather intriguing. Whether you like the idea or not, such technology opens up so many possibilities. Almost everyone stands to benefit from it.
It just sounds so futuristic and like something out of a sci-fi novel to me.
Funnily enough, microchip technology was first predicted in a sci-fi novel over half a century ago. More amazingly still, the prediction didn't fall far short of reality either.
But what sort of person would implant a microchip in their body?
Oh, I don't know. Gadget and techie enthusiast for one. Whilst we may not have the technology available at the moment to use their full potential, they will have uses in many fields in the future, I'm sure.
But doesn't the implantation of the chip hurt at all? I'd imagine it was quite painful.
Actually, from what I've heard, it's relatively painless. All you feel is a slight prick on your skin as a needle with the chip is inserted under your skin.
Just the thought of it makes my stomach turn. But isn't it quite unsightly? Doesn't the chip show up as a bump on the skin surface?
No, not at all. It's really minute, you see. It's so small, it fits into the size of a thumbnail.
Well, it's certainly not my thing for sure.
I think you ought to come to the lecture, though. You might change your mind.
No, you go. If you find out anything interesting, then you can tell me. I'll be around on campus for at least the rest of the afternoon.
Okay, you're on.
Great. We'll meet after the lecture then. See you.
Bye.
Before you hear the rest of the discussion, you have some time to look at questions 26 to 30. Now listen and answer questions 26 to 30.
Hi, Mark. So how was the lecture?
You really missed out.
Really?
Yes, I learned so much. You wouldn't believe how microchip implants will improve our lives in the future.
Oh, tell me more.
Well, from the simple action of allowing us to switch on a light or mechanical device with a wave of a hand to accessing our medical records, microchips will prove indispensable to us in the future.
Indispensable wouldn't be the word I'd use for encouraging people to be so lazy that they can't switch on an electric appliance unaided. I thought remote controls were bad enough. I take your point, though, about using microchips to access medical records.
Also, using microchip implant technology can help secure buildings. Access to buildings in the future will be restricted to individuals with a specific code on their microchip implant. But at the moment, though, there are some problems with the technology.
Like what exactly?
Well, the microchip ID numbers of employees can theoretically be obtained and cloned by any individual standing close enough with a handheld device.
I can't say that I was really in favour of the idea when you first mentioned it, but now you've persuaded me. If it's so easy to breach security, then you're really defeating the whole point of the object, aren't you? By using microchips to secure a building.
Guess so. But there's another brilliant use for microchips that I haven't told you about yet.
Go on.
GPS-enabled chips.
Which are?
Well, microchips that tell you the position of an individual. Like a GPS that tells you the direction when you're in a car. But these tell you where someone is when they're lost and, say, if they're injured or in danger, they can be found easily.
So it's a bit like the microchips that are already used on pets?
Exactly.
Much as I can understand pet owners wanting to microchip their pets, I don't think the case of microchipping humans is as clear cut. I mean, is it wise for an individual's movements to be known to everyone? That could place some individuals, such as political activists and those escaping persecution, under threat.
Doesn't seem like you're a great fan of microchip implants then.
Their uses do at best seem rather limited. Well, you won't catch me having a microchip implant in the near future, that's for sure.
That's the end of section 3. You have half a minute to check your answers. Now turn to section 4. Section 4. You will hear part of a science lecture. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40. Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40. Now I'm sure most of you will be familiar with the concept of drones or unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs for short, to give them their technical name. If you are lucky enough, you may even own one. In fact, they are becoming so popular amongst gadget lovers that the sales of consumer drones were up by 24% in 2014. It is certainly a technology that is catching on fast and seems to have captured the public's imagination. People of all ages are seemingly fascinated by UAVs, whether the interest is professional or purely recreational. In fact, so far, most members of the public tend to view UAVs as no more than a very sophisticated and expensive toy. As confirmation of this, Selfridges, the well-known London department store, has described them as the ultimate toy that spans the generations. However, in this lecture, I would like to talk about the more serious side to UAVs and how they may revolutionize the world of business as well as employment. With regard to the job sector, analysts predict that the market for drones could be worth billions. In the US alone, drones could create up to 70,000 jobs in this booming new industry. This would definitely be a boost to employment in a time where so many industries are replacing their workers with machines. The consumer end of the market, though, is a mere drop in the ocean. The potential for drones to revolutionize the way we do business is where the real opportunity lies, and Britain has the potential to become the world leader. Probably the most novel and groundbreaking use for UAVs is as an e-commerce delivery service. However, the idea has yet to get off the ground, literally. In principle, the idea is an excellent one. Consumers order items from an internet site, and the order is dispatched and delivered to your door by an unmanned drone within minutes. The mail-order giant Amazon first conceived of drones as a delivery service in the US, but plans stalled, leading many to question if the whole proposition was merely a marketing stunt. More likely, though, the proposed drone delivery service conflicted with the aviation rules as laid down by the US Federal Aviation Administration. The biggest problem in the US is that they've invested $5 billion in a new traffic control system. But it was years before drones were on the radar. Therefore, aviation laws are not compatible with or accommodate for UAVs. The UK, however, has much relaxed aviation laws. Drones are permitted as long as they do not fly in crowded areas, as defined by the Civil Aviation Authority. It therefore makes the UK a very attractive country to develop an e-commerce delivery system in. Whilst the UK is trying to set up and run a drone-based delivery service, Britain is already a leader in the field of drone-based aerial photography. If you think about it, the potential for such photography is huge. Not only does it allow you to take photos that could only previously be taken from an aircraft or even hot air balloon, but drones can get much closer to their subject. This is obviously a great advantage in taking photos of dangerous wildlife on safari. For the moment, drone-based aerial photography is especially popular for weddings. It's a bit of one-upmanship for the bride and groom, really. I think most people are bored with the usual cliched settings of a church with a countryside backdrop. Well, so far, I've talked about all the positive aspects of UAVs, but we shouldn't forget that there have also been some problems experienced by those using this technology. Many of the problems have arisen because of a handful of hobbyists who are giving the industry a bad name. The issue mainly is with cheap drones flown by people without licenses, because in the UK, unlike the US, a driver's license is officially required to fly a UAV. When someone flies a drone outside a controlled area like a park, you're heading for trouble. Only recently, an accident caused by a drone made headlines. A photographer was injured in TGI Fridays, where a stunt using a drone spectacularly backfired. That might be bad enough, but an even more serious incident occurred recently when a drone had a near miss with an Airbus A320 as it began its descent into Heathrow Airport. However, that said, with stricter regulations in place, Britain could soon see e-commerce delivery systems 24 hours a day and may become a leading centre for imagery shot by drones. It certainly is a burgeoning industry where, if you pardon the pun, the sky is the limit. That is the end of section 4. You now have half a minute to check your answers.
All right, everyone, you have 2 minutes to finalize your answers. Okay, so everyone, finish your notes. Kindly submit your work. So this time, I will be sharing my screen, so we will be doing vocabulary. Give me 1 second. Here we go. All right, everyone, eyes on the board. Number 1, fire. Choral. Blues. Country. Dance. Classical. Symphony. Everyone, folk. Hip hop. Electronic. Latin. Pop. Jazz. Reggae. Opera. Rap. Next one. Rock. Heavy metal. Bolero. Techno. R&B. Lullaby. National anthem. Theme song. Orchestra. Brass band. Rock band. Concert band. Pop group. Jazz band. Yeah. Okay. All right, everyone, I need you to move out of the breakout room. Both online and offline. Walk out, breakout room, B10. And checklist, if you move out, out. Guys, exit C14. Move to the main session. Do not open C14 anymore. Main session. They have to be I'm seeing guys move out. No, there's a lot of them. Everyone, I need you to log out C14. Go to the main session, guys. About people purchases, Go to the main session, guys. Your exercises are there.
Em ơi chị Viên đâu nhé. Sao bạn? Rồi, thế để cô bảo các chị vẫn đi lên hướng dẫn vào học sử dụng nhé. Hướng dẫn các bạn.
Biết. Cái này từ bỗng nhiên.